So we see someone looking for a way out of the back rooms because he's obviously running away from something. He then blocks the entrance he manages to find using the equipment he found. He then starts calling for help and he looks scared out of his life. Then a bird comes out flying from nowhere and it scares the hell out of him and me. Then starts running for his life from whatever was pursuing him and he accidentally traps himself in a closed space and gets caught. And that's where the tape cuts. Here, here comes the main character, Clark, and he's talking to the psychologist about how miserable his life is, and he's giving me a lot of reasons to lock him in life. Then Clark and Mary do some weird ass roleplay about the incidents that got him kicked out from his house, which was so cringe to watch. Basically, it goes like Clark was just drunk. He came home late and his wife was complaining. He thinks he deserves respect since he pays the bills, yada yada. He's an architect. Don't you forget. Like this was just too sad. So the psychologist just tells him it's a normal reaction, and he seems a little crazy. I guess that's why he even came here anyway. Well, he has his own business or his own store, and it's not doing well. God, I wouldn't even do this. So he does this weird ass ad. Yeah, the bills must be really high to be acting and doing this shit. I'm gonna reach this on my worst enemy. This shit's so sad, man. Then there's a power problem and the weirdness begins. Of course, there's a weird switch that doesn't light up anything. Now, I'm not really good at circuits, but that is obviously a red flag. A red flag. This guy's watching TV and sleeping in his own store. This guy's a child. Then the TV starts sounding strange and starts to play the weird video of the back. Then there's a power problem, and of course he goes to check. Honestly, I would rather just sleep at this point. I don't know why he just went to check, man. He then clicks the switches and nothing happens, except for when he clicks the weird ones. He then discovers the entrance to the back rooms and not tripped out, still goes in. They manages to come out successfully, but still goes back again. God, what a dumbass. How does he not turn back when he sees all this furniture just arranged so creepily? Even so, he raised up sign as he proceeded to go. Like, can't you pick up the hints? There's even an empty room with just chairs. You only seen something talking from afar in an empty building. I would just turn my ass back immediately. He then start exploring this place like he's Dora the Explorer or some shit. I guess this was supposed to when you have nothing going on with your life. I doesn't even notice another hint to even leave this place. Why would you call out in a place you don't even know and there could be someone that will harm you? Because this guy is so dumb. Then he now finally uses his head and notices that something is wrong and tries to escape. He escapes this time and comes back just to get a chair. Like the F. So he goes back to the psychologist and tells her about the backrooms. Doesn't call it that though. He just explains it to her. And of course, he sounds crazy. He then gets mad and says that he's going to come back with proof. I genuinely wonder how. He then gets his two employees, Bobby and Kat, to help him for research. So they find the door and enter, and Bobby keeps on recording. On a side note, I really have to give them props for not just saying the name of the whole movie just like that. I mean, there were obviously places where they could just say the name. Bobby volunteers to be the lab rat or the canary in this case, to go down with a rope tied to him and search a certain part. Throughout this whole movie, Kat was the only reasonable person in this group trying to speak some sense in them, but none of them listened. Obviously, this is a horror movie, so that's how it usually goes. But Bobby still goes down, and this brings up my claustrophobia. This place was so tight. The place he entered obviously looks like a laundry part. The doors on the ceiling and are almost everywhere on the ground and on the walls. And he sees something coming at him. At least he has enough sense to run back up. First, he manages to escape and forgot that his rope was tied to the bed. But he forgot that his rope was still tied to him. And then the monster pulls him down and he gets eaten. Damn, and it's not looking good for any of them. So Clark manages to run while somehow still carrying the camera. I know this is 1989, but bro might just be a live streamer for real. He just runs for his life without even knowing which places. Yeah. He then reaches a dead end where he hears Kat's voice from the other side, but he can't see her. Then the camera gets taken by whatsoever was pushing him, and that's where it ends. So Mary, the psychologist, gets a message from Clark that he's not coming back. She then goes to his store to check where he is and goes to the basement because of the blinking lights. Like, honestly. She sees his mad scribbles in the basement. Then she gets a clue on how to enter inside by seeing the fly busting through the wall and then enters. As she enters, she tries her best to search for him, and she happens to coincidentally come to a place where we see his mass scribblings of some weird ass entity. Then we see someone hiding behind her like a creep, and it turns out to be Clark. He then tells her to stay calm and that it's only him. He then proceeds to knock her out with a chokehold. She wakes up and then Clark starts talking a lot about his whole life philosophy and all that, and he still looks crazy in this scene. He then explains how the backrooms work, how it remembers people and degrades them into some form, and he still sounds crazy and proceeds to do something crazy by this guy. He then proceeds to eat them. My god, this guy, he's really lost it. Oh yeah, Kat's dead because she didn't agree to something, or they didn't see eye to eye, and she's in the fridge. Plus, this might be a copy of his house in the real world, because he says it's his house. And Mary, she still says she wants to try and help him. Then he wants to do the role play again. This has got to do some weird fetish. Then he cuts off some of the hair of the other entity to use it as a wig to make her resemble his wife. Yeah, not creepy at all. So they start role playing him of him breaking into his house again, the same problem. And oh yeah, you better not forget this guy is an architect. Mary finally gives him the reality check of his wah bullshit and tells him that blaming other people won't solve anything. He then calms down saying he doesn't want to change, and I guess this is his own happy ending for him. He apparently wants to stay here forever. Good for him anyway. And so the entity version of him, or the monster that was pursuing them all this time, he comes and wow, this guy is ugly AF. Clark approaches him. This guy is genuinely stupid. He gets eaten by it. I would like to apologize to all the horror blonde-haired girls in horror movies that I used to make fun of being stupid. This guy genuinely bites the cake. So Captain Clark in this case will call the monster that eats Clark like a snack. Well, Mary was smart enough to escape and not stay. Of course, the captain starts chasing her. She gets stuck in the couches and she manages to get back up. Of course, Captain Clark is still pushing her. Then she has to squeeze into the small hole. She's really brave because I would just give up and accept my fate. Yeah, so now she tries her best to escape by climbing the stairs and manages to go to the backroom versions of the store. So Captain Clark then catches up to her, and it's time for the final showdown. I have to admit, she really had a lot of common sense here, and actually manages to hold off the monster. But after doing this and that, some alarm kind of gets triggered or something, and starts to spray some sleeping gas, I guess. It affects the both of them. Then she tries her best to get up, but the monster is on top of her. Using a rock from her pockets, she then beats the out of it and then manages to escape. And then another claustrophobic sequence. I don't know why she stopped though. Lucky for her, there was a place for her to escape. And of course, she meets people there that are scared for her lives. Those are the researchers. They just spray her for safety and took her to the lab for questioning. And the movie ends there. So the moral of the story is you can't help everyone. Unlucky. Don't be a girl.